So you've played them. You've played them all, the goats of the sport.
Yeah.
Kind of, what is the different challenges of playing each guy? So like, you beat Federer at Wimbledon. You had the tough match with Murray there in the
Yeah.
final. Nadal, Djokovic. Like, how do you see the matchups for you? And kind of, how are you approaching matches with? Because obviously your service games are your service games. You're gonna pop aces and get short balls off the serve. So like, how are you approaching the return games differently with each guy?
Yeah, I think for me, the main distinction is you play Roger, you know what you kind of have to do. It's a bit more clear, but there's a lot of moments where it's just not up to you. That guy can make you look really, really bad, right? Because he can just play at a level that nobody else can match in moments. And he, out of everybody, I mean, Nadal on clay is probably the same thing, but he can make the experience of like being on the court with him really unenjoyable, where you're just like, let's just get this over with. Like but if you can keep up with him on certain days, the idea of what you need to do is a lot more clear, right? With Rafa, the tough thing always was that it doesn't matter how obvious it might be that you have an opportunity to win this match and these kind of things, before you step on court with him, you know it's going to take everything out of you, right? Because he's going to be there till the last point. And then the unique thing with like Novak was like, and even watching other players like play him a lot, he'll be like, you get in the rallies, you get into these things, right? Novak does this unique thing where he plays down the middle a lot more than everybody else, but then just takes away angles from you. And you'll lose 7-6, 6-4, right? And you'll be like, okay, I felt good. I was hitting the ball. Like this guy's up there, greatest of all time. I mean, now it's, I think, a pretty clear thing that he is. Um, and what you'll do is you go do the homework, you'll watch the match, and you'll just like look at it and you'll be like, yeah, I felt I was in it. But then rewinding it all, you're like, I really didn't have any chances. So Novak in that way often was a much more of a tease, where the other two could kind of just blow you off and be like, hey, you just don't feel like you belong on the court with them that day. And I think that was the difference. And I think also just the strategy every time you had to, like, it changed many times throughout a match when you play Novak. It wasn't clear.
Okay.
Like the other two guys, it was like clear what you needed to do. They just made it very hard to do. Novak, it was like, what do I need to do this time? Right? Okay, that works. It's working out. It's worked for a set. Here, he's going to start trying something. Now, what do I need to do? And it wasn't as clear with him, but you kind of always felt like you were there. You were in the rallies, like all these, you could feel good about yourself, but then you just like would look back and be like, there wasn't that much to feel good about. Uh, this was a lot more of a gap than like a score line might suggest.
And Murray?
I mean, Andy, I mean, I had a good record going into him against him, into going into my best year on tour, and then he chopped me out like 7 times that year. And with Andy, the thing was he would let you play, and then he would adjust to you. So if you could do your things right, you could maybe like get on. But and there was an earlier point in his career where he would sometimes be a bit too passive, and that always played in great for me. And then he made that shift where he would start off that way, but then he would change those moments where he would be the aggressor and you'd be adjusting to him a bit. But it just, with him, you knew you would get into the match, but then he could do so many different things of just like adjusting, making a few more shots here, making like he reacted incredibly well and changed things up throughout matches. So it was like he could look dejected and out of it, like which Rafa never gave you, but he would stay there throughout the whole match, trying all these different things. And then kind of, if you gave him that little opening, he would like kind of kick the door open and squirm his way into it and would just be like, turn the match out around completely. And then you'd be like, okay, that just, I wish I took more of that opportunity at that moment. But he was always
That
there, and just, you always had to be kind of ready. Like, don't, like, he could get negative. It's like, just don't let him into this match. Don't let him into this match. Don't let him. And then once he got into it in those moments, it would be very difficult.
like is super annoying.
Yeah, I
So
mean, he
like
was, it would always be that. It would be like that slice brings you in with it, right? And then he never passes you on the first ball, right? You hit a good approach. You know he gets his racket. You're just gonna hit it low to you, and then he'll always pass you on the second one, right? So it's like, okay, I have another shot at this. I don't have to worry about like covering the line too much. You knew what he was kind of gonna do, but then he was requiring you to hit like the perfect first volley because he knows where he needs to be on the second one to beat you with it. So that pressure was always there, just like building up. It's not that different from Novak, but it was just that with Andy, he did it more with variety. Novak did it by like just keeping that pressure on you the whole time by just standing close and just like one shot doesn't take you off the court, but like every shot you're like half a step behind, and then it just kind of like that pressure builds up. But it wasn't ultimately the two aren't that different, but they both just got there a little bit in a different way.
Who returns serve better?
Novak.
Why? Why would you say that? Or like in
Uh,
what way?
So Andy, because he did that whole, he would do those two big steps coming into it. Um, he would use your pace a lot, and I mean, we're not talking about big margins. We're not talking like the best returner of all time and a guy like that's
Yeah.
like in the lower percentile in the top 100. We're talking about like the best returner of all time and another top three returner. But
Yeah.
Andy, you could get a few, let's say, more free ones or where he just like chips it back. Novak, the thing that always made him, like, I would watch so many matches and it would be like, okay, it's not like the return where he hits a return winner. But you'll just like look back and you look at like the heat map of where all the returns land, and it's like 2 meters from the baseline every time with Novak, right? And right down the middle. No return like take it up the line or anything. Just right down the middle. So even if you pull him wide and you go the other way, to get like that free point with a serve +1, you feel like you need to play within like a foot and a half of the sideline. And players can play a foot and a half within the sideline. But it's very different when it's 4 all 30 all you're
Yeah.
serving and you need to hit it within a
100%.
foot and a half of the sideline, right? That all of a sudden feels like it's 6 inches. And that was like
Yeah.
And then you're
Novak's
thinking
biggest
about
thing.
it. You're thinking about it like before you even serve. So now you're trying to hit a better serve than you did
But it's
before,
never
and the
like a clear
percentage
thing. You
drops.
just know what's going to happen, right?
Yeah.
So it's never like, oh, now I have to hit a smaller target. Like you never have that like come to the front of your consciousness. But it just like
The feeling builds
your
over the course of
awareness
the
that
match.
like the
Yeah.
pressure's building up. He's going to make this return. Like you're going to have to do this. If you can execute it, great. But then you get through 4 all 30 all. You get through 5 all 30 all. Let's do it again. You can get through. You win that set. Let's do it on the other set, right?
Good
He
for
gives
five
himself
hours.
enough of
Yeah.
those like looks where he's like, is this player going to crack? If that player keeps it together, you have that chance, right? But that's a different thing of doing it in 2 sets than doing it in 3 sets, right?
Yeah.
Because there's going to be a lot more of those chances, that kind of thing. It's like, will this person show up? Because everybody
And
can
then
play great tennis all the way through every tennis professional. It's just like how often does that great level come out? And
and
that's
then
kind of
the
the indicator, right? I was having a conversation with somebody like the little things make such a big difference. There was I think 3 or 4 matches being up break in the deciding set against Novak. 2 matches, I believe, having match points, right? In those instances, you could say like, hey, these guys, it's close, right? It's such a small margin. And then you take like his 20-year career and the guy's playing for 25 slams. And my best result has been a final, right? Those things, like with everything, like I say, like those things just add up over and over and over and over again. Like that's what makes a difference.
Thanks for watching this clip. If you want to watch the full episode, the link is in the description down below.